could say this whole movie is ass backwards.
Welcome back, everybody, to Rogue's Nerdery. Sorry, everyone, I'm a little sick, so my voice might be kind of weird. Today, we're doing a movie called Malignant. It's kind of like a horror action film from 2001. It gets pretty crazy.
I'm pretty sure it's like 2020.
2021.
Oh.
From 2021.
Okay.
I think we should just lie about what year it's from.
It's from 1978. Classic.
It's from 2005, along with all other media.
2005.
Only year.
2005's Mario movie?
2005's Mario movie. Came out same day as 2005's Constantine, same day as 2005's Malignant, same day as 2005's John Wick.
All classics.
Mm-hmm.
The world just stopped after 2005.
Really did.
I mean, it's 2005 right now.
Of course.
Welcome back to the 2005 pod.
2005
Constantine 2 is going to be released in 2005.
Constantine podcast brought to you by Rogue's Nerdery.
This is funny now, but Jack is just going to be listening to this at his computer with his hand in his hands.
He's like, why did we do this shit?
Welcome back to Rogue's Rogue's Nurgle.
Nurgle?
Nurgle?
Welcome back to Rogue's Nerd.
Welcome back, Rogue's Nerd. Your next mission awaits you.
Nerd?
You can do
Nerd!
Nerd, what happened?
It's
Welcome back to Rogue's Nerdery. Episode 3, Malignant. My name is Noah.
My name is June.
And I'm Jack.
And together we are...
Rogue's Nerdery.
Rogue's Nerdery.
Wow.
Well, we don't have to keep that last part, but that's a
pretty
good
good,
introduction.
pretty good.
So Malignant is a horror movie from 2021, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And
Good so far.
for some reason I thought it was from 2020. But it's not. It's 2021.
Wow, you're way off.
Oh, sorry.
A whole year off.
I do not remember this movie coming out.
Neither do
Me
I. I
neither.
never heard about it until Jack brought it up.
I discovered it by just scrolling through HBO Max, trying to find something to watch. And
As all good nights are spent.
I was
The
like,
cover is
well, I
striking.
guess I'd never seen this before, so, yep.
What would you say? It's like a psychological horror with
Tries to do
A
a lot of
twist?
things.
It's kind of like three different things. It's like
you want it, Malignant's got it.
It's like horror. I don't know how to describe it.
Malignant really refuses to be pinned down. There are some sort of...
Malignant just refuses.
Yeah, Malignant refuses. It's got some, like... Can I describe it as weird sci-fi-like elements to it? Because...
Yes.
Yeah.
It
We'll get
almost
to that part.
it almost has a campiness about it, but also it refuses to like lean into that, and it struggles to find any good distance between that campiness and like taking itself seriously. And I feel like it's constantly either trying to be one end of that spectrum or the other, and it throws me off.
As a movie, Malignant, as a horror movie, it is very campy. However, it is also super concerned with taking its core concept seriously, that the rest of the horror movie's built around to support.
But their core concept, through the movie itself, I don't think is taken very seriously.
But it goes from horror to mystery to action by the
There are
end of
definitely
it.
blocked phases of it, but I think that's because they threw a lot of red herrings in.
But it's directed by James
in the
Wan, who directed the Saw movies.
I saw he only directed Saw 1.
Well, good enough. That was the best one. You should just stop watching Saw after the first one.
I think the next one he was involved with was Jigsaw.
I just read earlier that he directed Aquaman. So I'm kind of curious.
Really?
Even though I don't really want to see any DC movies. I'm interested in that.
He directed The Conjuring and the Insidious series.
Because of Facebook stalking me, they showed me an ad or a pop-up where it said that he just got selected to direct a Dead Space movie.
A Dead Space movie?
Whoa, you know what he
Which
produced?
may or may not be
also,
real, but that'd be cool.
You know what he produced also in 2021?
What?
Mortal Kombat!
Really?
Yes.
Oh my god.
If only we had a Mortal Kombat episode.
Okay, I've got a lot to say about all of the Mortal Kombat movies. I don't like the Mortal Kombat games. Franchise is fine, but the movies, I will make us do episodes on eventually.
I'm excited for
Stay
that.
Stay tuned for that.
Yeah, stay tuned, listener,
If
for
I
a Mortal
can-
Kombat episode coming up.
If I can get my way, we need to do like all 3 movies into like one super episode, but that seems completely unreasonable.
So in 2003 he directed Saw, a short, and then in 2004 he directed Saw the movie. Then he did
I didn't know there was a short.
Insidious in 2010, The Conjuring in 2013, Insidious Chapter 2 in 2013. He directed, this is the one that I thought was weird. He directed Furious 7 in 2015, Conjuring 2, Aquaman, and then Malignant. Man, with Aquaman and Furious 7 under your belt,
Two classics.
he's got, yeah. I mean, he's really set himself up. He's got to maintain, you know.
Wait, so who's directing the new Mortal Kombat movie in the same year that he was making Malignant?
Well, Malignant released, so...
Okay.
Well, he produced.
Fair enough.
So,
producer.
So he could have...
Producer just, like...
he could have funded...
stuff.
He could have...
Not just the
put
face
work
for
into
stuff.
it. Is a what for stuff?
They just pay for stuff.
Sometimes. So, I don't know if you can really sum it up. Do we just start getting into the plot?
Yeah, I thought we could make our way through, like...
I gotta stop clicking this pen.
You gotta stop clicking that pen.
That's true.
So the movie starts out and it shows all the title, like credits and the production studios and stuff, and it starts out at Wayne Manor on the side of a cliff.
It's not. It's what would you call it?
An asylum, I suppose.
Simone or Simeon Asylum?
Simeon, I think it was.
Simeon Asylum. Asylum? What? Hospital. It was a hospital.
It was a hospital, but it was also...
with air quotes.
Very experimental. I think it was also an asylum, too.
The kind of hospital that you would have armed guards at. At some point you...
Oh, research hospital. That's what it said.
It seemed like it's pretty in the middle of nowhere, too. But it is a crazy-looking building.
Now...
Like on the side of the cliff.
It is. It's... Actually, maybe more akin to Arkham Asylum, now that I think about it.
Yeah, there you go. It could have been more like an Arkham Asylum type.
It's funny because I said that I have in my notes, starts out at Wayne Manor. I didn't know he directed Aquaman.
Oh.
I wasn't trying to be funny, but it has a feel that I think would really work for the DC universe.
Yeah, Aquaman famously spends all his time at Wayne Manor.
Well, he and Bruce are bros.
Sure, they
I'm
are.
still lost.
They're-
You can convince me of anything
just
about
being
DC
an
at
asshole.
this point.
They're slamming back cold ones, playing lawn darts. It's, yeah, life of luxury.
Yeah. Movie.
Okay,
Movie.
right.
Oh yeah, it goes right into
It's the doctor.
the
the
like little
doctor's-
home video of the doctor. Her name is Dr.
I forgot.
Weaver.
Weaver.
Dr. Weaver. Dr.
Florence Weaver.
Florence Weaver.
Florence Weaver.
She is... You're watching a old VHS recording of her
Weaver.
initially. Shush you. And the thing that immediately drew my attention before we even got any like way into the movie
It looks
was
bad.
well, no. I did
Well, it's
write
green,
like
it's
weird
supposed to look
retro
bad.
VHS.
When I first
stuff,
turned this
right?
movie on, based on this video at the beginning, I was like, oh no, this is like one of those bad like Hulu original like horror movies.
Oh,
that-
but they're all
low
so
budget.
good.
But I
That's
don't
the
know.
charm.
It's supposed to look like that, I guess. Yeah, the charm.
Cover everything with like scan lines so that you can, cover up the shoddy set. But anyway, the thing that immediately drew my attention is the ironic murder weapon. So on the shelf behind Weaver, there is this trophy that ends up being the ironic murder weapon throughout the entire movie. and it looks like it. You can tell immediately that someone's going to die to this thing.
I didn't notice it when I watched. And
it's the first note I wrote down for this movie.
I was reading an article earlier. It was like, things you didn't notice the first time you watched this, and that was one of them.
So she introduces a subject named Gabriel. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember if she uses these descriptions of drinking electricity and controlling machines in the video or immediately after. Because...
It's in the video.
It's in the video?
I think it's after. She mentions in the video that Gabriel's getting stronger.
Yes.
But then she's interrupted by a nurse who's saying it's like Gabriel's drinking electricity right now when she asks if they've applied electric shocks to solve Gabriel.
Yeah.
So, we're in the same scene.
Isn't that all in the video, though?
Kind of.
No, I think she's coming out into the hallway and they're talking.
We're in the same scene. She was interrupted while making this video
by
in her office.
red alert, Gabriel's breaking free. Nurse tells her, we tried doing electric shocks, didn't work.
Didn't subdue.
Gabriel was just sucking the energy out of it.
He's drinking the electricity.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I think the movie's made better without all the electrical stuff in it.
Well,
I have some notes on that later.
Okay. Only important part right now is it's introduced that Gabriel's got some kind of control over electricity very early on.
So, something's happening. They get to the room. Some guy has a gun. There's only one guard.
Oh yeah, there's this badass shot
gun.
of the guard who's been following them. Drops this massive briefcase on the ground, starts assembling this sniper rifle looking trank gun out of it.
I don't think this is intentional, but the second time I watched it, it gave me the first scene of Jurassic Park vibes.
Yeah.
Where they're trying to subdue the raptor and everyone's the one guy gets killed or something, and then the other guy goes in with the gun and shoots it.
Well, you have to set up the stakes, right?
It was just funny.
But yeah, they say don't go in there, and he goes to open the door to shoot the gun. I don't even think he gets the end of the gun in the door of the room before his arm
is
taken,
to tell what was happening with
pulled into the room, and then given back to him. But his
classic
forearm
arm grab
is broken. I expected the arm to just go away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But no, it was broken.
This is more of a broken bones kind of movie.
Splintered out through the skin, and he's screaming. And I think that's when Dr. Weaver takes the gun and
aims a perfect shot.
How does she hit him amongst this chaos? It's just I've got it.
There's also the other doctor, the big guy, is just kind of seems like a terrible doctor.
Yeah, he's
it's kind of there,
hand wringing through that whole scene of being oh, I don't know what's happening. It's not working anymore. And then two more guards just phase into existence, and she tells them to put the child restrain Gabriel. And that's when you see a shot of the lower half of what looks to be a child being dragged to a chair and strapped into it.
I didn't notice this, but Gabriel's wearing purple panda socks.
Mm-hmm.
And so it looks like the bottom part of a little girl, so you're confused.
The hospital room's just a normal child's room, but on the other side of it, it's the operating room, right? Which must be terrifying for the child. It's just divided by a plastic divider. It makes for a very striking shot, though.
Oh yeah, and then after they drag him into that other room,
you've got the line.
Yeah, he speaks through the boombox.
I will kill you all.
He says, "I will kill you all." And they kind of show him through a curtain, so it's kind of distorted, but you kind of see a little bit his messed up face and stuff and arms.
He kind of looks like an alien.
Yeah. Weaver says something along the lines of "You've been a bad boy, Gabriel," and
the dialogue. I also remember he's broadcasting his thoughts, which that's such heavy-handed exposition, and we've already had 3 or 4 of those up into this scene, and I was just wow, okay, it's gonna be this type of movie, which jury's still out. Didn't know how to feel about it, but I was that's ridiculous.
It's a wild ride, but you gotta stick to it. And then Dr. Weaver says, "It's time to cut out the cancer."
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
That line is the, like, hint at what's really going on, and one of the only ones you get that isn't just, like, surrounded by red herrings for the first half of the movie.
And then what is this opening music? Sounds fucking hype.
The music, yeah, the music in this movie, I like it.
Goosebumps, but hype, is what I wrote. It does sound like the Goosebumps opening.
Oh, another cheesy line. We were saying, I thought we could help him, I was wrong. Well, she's covered in blood in the operating room, which peak B movie sort of thing going on there. Oh, I've also got This Intro Goes Hard.
Do you?
Yeah.
Nice. It's.
I can't remember what it was. It's been a couple weeks.
It sounds like the Goosebumps theme, but, like, intense? I don't know. It's good.
I don't know. I didn't get that.
But you didn't feel that? There's a...
Not the
Ever
Goosebumps
watched the
thing.
Goosebumps show when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
Dun 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 dun. Yeah.
It kind of sounds like that.
I don't know. Maybe.
So then we cut to present day. And just someone pulling up to a house. Someone who is vaguely pregnant. And they keep, like...
Vaguely?
Vaguely pregnant.
Vaguely? I think it's pretty obviously
It's
pregnant.
pretty obvious.
Yeah, but it's like, it's just the stomach. And she just goes, oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Obviously pregnant.
Oh.
And then every line after this will mention the baby. Now they make it very subtle, obvious. Yeah.
I guess
pulls up in her old Toyota.
It looks like she's a nurse. She's wearing scrubs.
She goes upstairs to like talk to her boyfriend, who's just
Is her husband or her boyfriend?
A boyfriend.
Okay.
I was thinking husband.
I thought they were married.
It's possible.
I might be wrong on that. I mean, they've got a house together. They've tried 3 times to have kids. Seems like they've got their life set up.
I guess it would make more sense if they were married, I guess.
They have her pass by and look longingly at a room with, like, a crib and stuff in it. Yeah, so she gets to her husband's room, and he's lying in bed with, like, his shoes on, watching the big game.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you're home early? I thought you were working all night.
Yeah.
And then that's when she's like, Dumpling's giving me a hard time.
I completely missed that line because I was just, like, hung up on him having his shoes on in bed.
Yeah.
That one bothers me. It's messed up.
It's like you've never worn your shoes in your bed.
No, I haven't. Never in my life.
Me neither.
You can tell the husband is pissed off.
I don't like him.
Well,
from the get-go.
Yeah, you're kind of just not supposed to, but...
I mean, that makes sense.
He's mad because, like, they keep trying, or at least... This is the thing. He's mad at her for getting pregnant over and over again and having miscarriages. And then, you know, she's working too hard. And so he's pissed because it's like, you're going to do it again. But he makes it seem like it's all her fault that she's getting pregnant. But, like, it takes 2 people to do that, so...
He's very possessive.
Well, I think you're missing something here, Jack.
I don't think so.
No. What happens is she's explaining that, like, the pregnancy's making working kind of difficult, and he tells her that she should stay home and stuff, and then she turns off the TV, and that's when he flips out. Every sentence out of him from that point forward, it's not about the TV, but it gets a lot more aggressive.
You're right. So
I think
she deserved it. She turned the TV
No,
off.
she didn't deserve it, but I think that's what has, like, triggered him to go to domestic abuse mode.
Yeah, it's pretty...
Well,
it's pretty terrible.
He's
Basically,
like, oh, don't get pregnant. And she's like, yeah, but you want this baby too. And he's like, well, you keep killing my babies. And
that's so fucked up.
then she says, well, you're a loser or something. And then he just like bashes the back of her head into the wall.
Yeah.
And
he shoves her against the wall.
It's very Mortal Kombat.
You said bashed, you said shoved, I said dunks.
Dunks.
Dunks
her head against the wall.
Wow. All right.
It's more of just like
my perception of your
just like shoves the fuck out of her, and the back of her head hits the wall.
He shoves her into the wall, and June's just there. It's like, nice. High fives him.
I try to have fun with my notes.
So her head hits the wall. She sinks to the ground, and he's like, I'm so sorry. Let me go. Let me help you.
Ice.
It was an accident. Runs downstairs, and she locks herself.
She crawls to the door after he leaves to get ice, and locks the door.
And then she touches the back of her head, and there's a bunch of blood.
She's like, oh.
You can hear the husband trying to apologize to the door, but...
And the next thing you know, it's nighttime.
He's sleeping on the couch.
I'm
sleeping on the couch.
he didn't, like, call an ambulance or something.
He doesn't give a fuck
Yeah,
about it.
I know. It's just like...
If he calls an ambulance, then he's in
the
trouble.
other side of that door.
He doesn't care.
Anyway, yeah, he's sleeping on the couch. He hears a blender. Gets up. It's dark.
I love the lighting in
The
this whole
blender
scene.
turned on all by
Oh,
itself.
absolutely. There's, like, some stained glass windows and shit.
Mm. Well, when she does the blood on the back of the head thing, I was like, oh, her hair must be so matted. Like, she doesn't, like, clean it. She just is like, I'm gonna go lay down.
I wrote, dear God, she slept on a head injury.
Yeah.
First of all, who the fuck just walks around with bloody hair every day? Because she doesn't, like...
Pat. Oh, well, that's a shame.
Shit.
Not again.
She goes to turn off the blender that's on by itself. Then the fridge door opens by itself behind him. And he's spooked. And he closes it. And then that's when he sees the person sitting on the couch. And he walks over. And then is there something that distracts him and he looks away?
The TV. The channels flip very quickly. And it says, like...
Oh, it's like a bright light to the camera.
It sends, like, a message.
Then he looks over and the person's gone. But there's, like, an impression from them sitting there that slowly, like, rises. And it's just kind of weird that happens. Like, as if, like, a ghost was sitting there and stood up.
Yep.
But it happens, like, right in front of him. So unless they just have, like, the softest couch in the world, where, like, after you sit up, like, a couple minutes later, it, like, rises on its own. Yeah, it's like memory foam.
He never spills beer on the couch because he can set the bottle on one cushion and jump up and down on the other cushion without it spilling.
Yes, exactly. This is the guy who doesn't want to spill beer, you know?
Naturally, not during the game.
Of course not. I have to shove his wife into a wall again.
Yeah.
Do you think...
You ever try and lick up beer from the floor?
No.
It's not a good time. You don't want your beer spilling.
Not.
That's why you have the memory foam couch.
Okay.
Do you think that the whole movie planned out at this point? I mean, they'd have to, because movies, it's just how they're made, but at the same time, it really doesn't feel like it.
It feels like they made it up as
that they don't care that much.
Well, they care later.
They do, but it's like...
The times that they care and the times that they don't care are very weird.
Yeah, it's the first impression of the movie. They just, like, play into horror tropes instead of making it consistent with the rest of the movie. So it feels really weird as the first couple of scenes.
I think they had something planned out, but then they just
it's
never
just the
said
couch
no
thing
to
for me.
anything.
The couch thing was like, that doesn't make sense. Even knowing, like, what happens later.
Well, that's what I'm
It
saying.
really feels like someone else took over this part of the movie.
Derek gets
dumped.
Nice.
That classic,
Episode
90s feel-good movie, Derek gets dunked.
Is that an actual movie?
No, but it sounds like one.
I'm so
It's
excited
dunked
for a
too.
moment.
Derek, my favorite was Derek Meets Airbud.
Derek Airbud crossover?
Yeah. Darebud.
Derek learns he could be, due to a rule oversight, he's allowed to be in the big game.
He's allowed to play dog basketball.
There's
no
no rule
rules.
saying that Derek can't play dog basketball.
No, we're just stealing an E1 bet.
Is that an E1 bit?
That's an E1 bet.
Wow,
It's
they're
a
funny.
bit in, like, every podcast.
Oh.
I've heard it multiple times.
Airbud?
It's just such a funny joke. Just the whole, like, there's no rule saying that this person can't do this.
Human can't play dog basketball.
Yeah, it stems from that. Yeah.
So yeah, Derek gets dumped.
Derek gets killed by some sort of, like, shadowy figure.
Ooh.
And she wakes up what you would assume to be right afterwards. And goes downstairs and sees him with his neck snapped. And then she does a lot of screaming, usually, in this movie. And then it cuts to our two detectives.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
She gets attacked.
Yeah.
She's trying to run away from it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm missing a major part.
She gets to her room, and she tries to close the door, but she's not fast enough. And that other entity hits the other end of the door.
Before that, let's start with... Okay, she goes down and she sees him with his neck snapped.
Yes.
And she's terrified.
Yeah.
And then you see the shadow, like, creep up from, like, behind his body or whatever.
Oh,
and
yeah.
starts
like
chasing her. It creeps up and starts chasing her. And she runs into the room. And the door, like, explodes behind her and knocks her onto the floor.
But then there's nothing behind the door.
She hits her head again.
Yeah.
Well, we don't necessarily
She sleeps
see that.
on multiple head injuries.
The screen
honestly,
goes
they
black
never
when she
go
gets
back
knocked out.
to, like, talking about that door being blown off the hinges. So that may or may not be, like, in her head.
I thought it, like, just... She wasn't able to close it fast enough, and it hit it, and it just sent her flying. I didn't
Maybe
think he got
she just
knocked
closed
out.
I thought the door just, like, blew
up.
up. Yeah.
Maybe she just closed it really hard.
It bounced back. This memory foam door.
This memory foam door.
Describe all the weird supernatural bullshit in this with memory. Next scene leads to the cops investigating the house.
The cops were useless in this movie.
Oh, absolutely.
There's no reason that they really should have been anyone. If he was introduced in the scene where he started chasing the thing, then it would have made no difference.
I don't think that's true.
They are absolutely background characters that feel like they've been designed to not be background characters, but still, like, forced into the section of background characters.
So, there's a bunch of police in the house. They're investigating the murder of this Derek guy. And they call the forensic scientist
There's the
person
two...
Lonely, and they introduce two cops. With the X-Files guy and...
Well, he's not an X-Files guy.
That's who he reminded me of.
There's been a lot of media lately where there's, like, this, like, male, like, Asian cop guy. I feel like that's just what he was. And then the other lady, the other detective, she reminded me of Wanda Sykes, except she's not Wanda Sykes.
Yeah. And also, she just has a lollipop indefinitely throughout the next, like, 3
I did not notice that.
I noticed it later, but I didn't notice, like, this early.
Which feels so, like, campy. And again...
They are just,
and
like,
on
these
the
two,
nose,
like, goofy
But then
cops.
they just ditch it. Please, have the lollipop through the rest of the movie if you're going to do that.
The rest of the movie?
Yeah. She needs to be, like, shooting a shotgun in the police station. Like, while, like, fighting...
Oh, yeah, with the
know?
lollipop?
Yeah, but
Sure.
all of a sudden, it's such, like a proppy, like, statement to her, and then all of a sudden it's just gone. I was like, oh, okay. I don't know. It just felt weird to have, and I was like, I guess it's a creative choice, and they want to be, like, kind of campy about it, but then they weren't. I don't know. So they're there.
Yeah, the first scene of them talking, though, they're discussing about how there's no sign of forced entry or anything, and she was the only one in the house, and they're like, yeah, that's definitely the motive, she did it. But they don't, like, make any accusations or arrests at this point.
They think she did it.
Yeah.
But she's in the hospital. Her sister's there with her, and tells her, she's like, oh, where's my baby? And the sister's like, you had another miscarriage. And then she cries. And then later... The guy shows up, the guy detective.
And her sister says that she's been like that for the last 2 days.
Here, now that you gotta mention the sister's just, like, dressed up in a costume for this whole scene.
So the first scene is when the sister, the lady wakes, or what is her name? Madison. Madison wakes up.
Yeah.
Her
The
sister's
main
there.
character is Madison.
And she learns she lost the baby.
Mm.
Then there's a next scene where the detective shows up to see Madison and her sister's there in a princess costume. Sister's like, I work at insert Disney World, and I'm just on a lunch break, and I'm checking on Madison because she's been doing so poorly.
What does he ask her? He just...
There's definitely no HIPAA that exists here because he's like, I know about the abortions. The abortions? Was it abortions? No, not abortions. The miscarriages. I know about the miscarriages.
They also searched her house and stuff, probably, too. So
Oh, you think they read all her
maybe
diaries and stuff?
Yeah, they figured it out somehow.
Fair enough. She shows up.
Oh, hey, I've got in my notes here that the detective mentioned 3 miscarriages in 2 years, and that's something Sydney did not know about.
Oh.
So again, yeah, no HIPAA.
What does that mean?
It's like privacy for medical information. Doctors aren't supposed to, like, just go around telling it. Everybody, like, I can't go to your doctor and be like, hey, so what's going on with Jack? Like, there's a confidentiality.
Well, yeah, but they're police.
Pretty sure
And they're
police aren't
investigating
supposed to
a
be able to get
murder.
around that.
They can.
Okay.
They didn't check on her bleeding head or anything.
Nope. Nope.
They just kind of glance over that. They're like, oh, whatever.
You think the nurses come in, change out the pillowcase every other hour, and then just don't do anything about it, think nothing of it?
I guess.
Police can get around HIPAA only if there is a court order or a warrant.
Yeah.
So warrant?
They won't have a warrant. Not right now.
They
Because
probably
got
found medical
very little to go
information
on.
at her house.
They might have.
Anyways.
Anyways.
She goes back home.
She wants to stay there.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, she
Also-
said, this is my home. I can't leave it.
Forensic
Okay.
scientists mentioned the perp's handprints were upside down.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Let's
their
talk about the
handprints, yeah.
forensic lady.
Yes.
Excited for that one.
Let's.
Um,
She does forensics.
mentions.
She has a crush on the male cop.
She
Yeah, that's her defining trait.
is dressed
Yeah.
like a nerd from an early 2000s TV show.
She gets really excited about the corpse being completely inexplicable, that a ridiculous amount of force was put on it. That the handprints on the body make it look like someone was hanging upside down.
What
The
was
neighbors mentioned domestic violence before, and that's why they suspect the main character, Madison, might have been the killer.
Yeah. She returns back to her home. Because she doesn't want to leave it.
Yeah, which is not the choice I would make, but she does seem a lot more distraught about the miscarriage than she's about her husband being brutalized.
Good.
But, you know, fair enough.
I don't blame her.
Okay, so 2 weeks have passed since Madison was admitted to the hospital. She has come home, and in the first night that she stays there, she sees the killer outside the window, waiting out underneath, like,
Is the lamppost
flickering
flickers.
lamppost.
On and off.
On and off. She goes downstairs to make sure everything's locked up, and finds that one of the doors is swinging open on its
Yeah,
hinges.
she runs around the whole house, closing all the windows, shutting all the doors, closing all the curtains, and then her front door still just is
I think
open.
it's the back door.
Why was
Or
she
the back
bothering to lock the windows? I would
Yes.
went front to back, right doors wise, and then worried about the
Well,
windows.
that's the thing. The door, she locked it, and then it came open after
That was
she
the-
I
locked it.
hate the stupid front
she?
door. I'm pretty sure
I
it has a
thought-
stained glass on
That
it,
was the
too.
back door.
Well, I'm not that attentive, I guess. I thought it was one of the doors she already locked.
Cause,
No, I
but
think
it
so.
is a really good moment that it makes in the movie where you're like running around the house. She's like, the front door, she walks up to and it pops open. She slams it quick. And then she goes through all the windows in the house. But by the time she makes it to the back door, it's just in time to see it like kind of just being open and swaying a little bit in the breeze, which is creepy. And it sets up an
It
atmosphere
is a
being
very,
like,
very
it doesn't
creepy
matter.
scene.
And that's, I think, where I wrote just leave. Because, like,
Yeah.
he's in the house. You know,
She's got this great scene that shows just how massive this old house is. There's like a shot of the camera that spins around her as she looks around the whole house to see every corner that the killer might be able to come from.
Very cool shot.
Very cool shot. And then she starts sprinting to get upstairs, right? So she sprints. I've got the path written down here.
Excellent.
She runs into the TV room, runs past the front door, then up the stairs, then takes a right turn to run down the hall, another right turn, crosses over a balcony, and then into the room that shows, like, during the overhead shot, it, like, passes by the room she's heading to, right?
it's kind of zoomed out.
It's
and,
all...
like,
it's shot from
beautiful.
top down. It looks like you're playing The Sims.
It looks
Yeah.
like a dollhouse, but from the top.
Yeah,
instead of
it's a
side.
really cool shot. She
Locks
runs
the door
into
there.
her bedroom to hide and lock the door.
Yep. Daylight eventually comes. Oh, and I thought this door got knocked down, so I was very confused to see it was up and fine.
I thought it just got bashed open.
I thought it got knocked down, but maybe that was just
Yeah.
in her head.
Well-
But yeah, the door is fine, people.
Alright, so the next scene, daylight comes, and you see Madison trying to get into the house, right? Sydney trying to get into the house. Madison has bought, like, a bunch of hardware, did, like, a montage for locking the place up. There's, like, multiple deadbolts on every door.
Sydney's the sister?
Sydney's the sister.
Okay.
Sydney
I wanna
climbs up
see
the
this.
side of the house and knocks on this now paranoid woman's window.
Actually, I thought she lived on the bottom floor.
Madison?
Yeah.
No.
she's upstairs.
She's upstairs.
She climbed the side of the house?
Yeah, Cindy climbed the side of the house. And then she goes, Mom made casserole, but it's downstairs because I couldn't bring it up. Or, I mean, it's outside because I couldn't bring it up while climbing.
I think
And that
she's-
casserole never gets mentioned again. That thing's getting cold out there.
I think she's my favorite
Damn,
character.
that poor castle.
That poor casserole. I kept in mind, never saw it mentioned or in the background again. Madison takes some time to talk about the domestic abuse she's gone through there to Sydney, to establish that to the audience. Feels kind of...
She tells her sister that she's always been longing for a physical, blood connection with someone else. Well, and her sister's confused, and then she reveals to her that she's actually adopted.
She was taken in.
She doesn't remember anything before she was 10 or something?
Mm-hmm.
Before that,
taken in when she was 8. She says her mom died during birth. What are you saying now?
Before she tells her sister that, though, her sister's also trying to console her, being like, "Come on, he was a shitty boyfriend anyways."
She was like, "Yeah, it sucks that he died, but fuck that guy."
Is that what gets her to start talking about the domestic abuse?
And then she said, "Yeah, I tried to leave him. The last time I tried to leave him was somewhat recently, but as soon as I'd worked up the courage, she had gotten pregnant with the pregnancy that we'd seen in the beginning."
I just remember something creepy about this scene. When Sydney climbs up to the window, right? She sees her sisters just staring at the dent in the wall from where she was dunked.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's staring at her dunk dent in the wall.
Dunk dent. The Derek dunk dent.
Slam dunk spot.
I thought this window was going to come back into play later.
The window?
Yeah, when the sister crawls up and it's like, knock, 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 and it scares her, I was like, oh, that'll come back into play later. But it didn't.
Well, she doesn't really come back. Well, I guess she does.
And then, I don't know if you noticed this, and I would absolutely be willing to pull up that movie again. But it starts playing it's like if Where's My Mind was made by Nine Inch Nails. Why? What's going on here? Which made me think it was a psychological mental thing. And also a...
Interesting.
Psychic thing. Because it's the Where Is My Mind. I was like, obvious... And looking back, that's a really big hint. But it's just... It instantly cuts to a scenes of... Where are we at? Seattle?
Yeah.
Overhead Seattle City with this rendition of Where's My Mind playing. But it's just that melody in the background.
I did not get any sort of read on that. I'm glad you brought it up.
I'm glad that you brought that up.
All right.
So
next
Seattle
scene.
Underground is the next scene.
The next scene, there's a lady giving a tour of some sort of Seattle underground city.
Is this a real place?
An old town. It must be.
Everything
in movies is true, right?
Me and my sister were watching it, and Anna looked it up, and she said it's a thing.
That's so cool. I want to go explore Seattle Underground.
I was so confused in this scene because I thought this was Madison.
So did I. I was going to mention that.
I thought so
too. The first time I watched it, I was like, wait a minute, is that her or not? And I couldn't figure it out.
It kind of makes sense a little bit because it ends up secretly, spoiler alert, why are you watching at this point, if not for a spoil? It ends up being her mom.
I rewound to the beginning of the city montage overhead scene just to see if there was a 4 years later or something like that subtitle, and there wasn't.
Yeah.
I was so confused.
Yeah, it looks a lot like her, but that makes sense because it's her mother.
So according to the movie,
mother.
Was it a fire or something that destroyed the old city? Or flooding? It was something like that.
Didn't she just say that, they just built on top of it or something? Or
Yeah, but there was something that did away with the old buildings, and they ended up building their new buildings on top of it because it provides some degree of flood protection.
It was prone to flooding.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's like Paris catacombs.
So
and Venice.
For the purposes of the movie, you end up with this labyrinth.
Yeah.
This
Assassin's Creed Seattle. Explore the underground.
Feels like a thing out of Thief. Anyway, you end up with this labyrinth of old, broken up buildings.
The people file out. It cuts to the people filing out after she's given part of her tour in this catacomb area. She's thanking them, and some of them are tipping her, and then she's alone. I forget, do lights turn off, or are there just some dark areas that aren't lit?
I think there's just some dark areas that aren't lit.
I think she starts turning the lights off.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
They're still playing pretty hard in paranormal kind of aspect right now.
Yeah, then, behind one of the places that she turned off, there's a noise.
Oh.
Yeah. it makes it seem really clear that something's out there. She turns on the floodlights. The entire hallway's empty when she does. It really feels like the tour guide's being haunted right now.
Doesn't she have to
No,
run
she-
towards the light?
She doesn't turn the light on.
She does.
She walks into the darkness, and she's like, "Is anybody there? You're not allowed to be there."
Oh, I forgot
Yeah.
about
And
that.
then the lights start turning off
That sounds
like,
about right.
towards
Yeah.
her.
I thought the lights started turning off, and she has to turn around and run
She runs as fast as she
towards
can.
the light switch, and it's all very tense. It's like
She's trying to plug in the light to save her, even though she has her back turned on whatever's chasing her.
well, if you can't see, you can't
She
fight
turns
it.
around, nothing's there.
Doesn't he like drop from the
Struggle.
ceiling?
Yeah, he does.
This is when we see his face for the first time. Do we immediately cut to where she's being held captive, even though we don't know where that's at, but like the setting, or does it go back to Madison?
After the monster takes the tour guide, we've got a scene in the room. It's in the attic room, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where Gabriel is getting dressed up and then uses the tour guide's phone to call Weaver and leave Weaver a threat. This is also the first time where we see the coat, because when the monster goes and gets the tour guide, he is just wearing a sweater.
Got nice
Tour guide is tied up in the attic. I absolutely thought Weaver was going to be the mom.
He makes the phone call to Dr. Weaver, and he says he's waited a long time for this. And she's all like, "Who is this?" And he's like, "It's time to cut out the cancer." And then that's when she knows, oh, it's Gabriel.
That's the beginning of the movie.
That's
That's
when
a
you
good job.
see him like with the trench coat and everything.
He's gearing up to go killing. Oh boy, here I go, killing again. After the phone call happens and Weaver is threatened by the monster, she goes and seeks out the file on Gabriel. And it kind of reestablishes the connection between her and the monster. And it leaves the file out for when the police arrive later.
I see.
Which is what, cues them in and makes them find the picture.
You said you had a lot of notes on the trench coat.
Did I?
Well, you did before, but I don't know if you still do.
I thought you were just excited to get to the trench coat.
No, I think I was just excited to get to the trench coat because when did they get this trench coat? Did Gabriel go on a... because it's fitted to an adult, right? It's an adult trench coat.
He just went
Was it
on
just
he
in
went
the
on a
attic?
shopping spree.
Was it in the attic? Did he go shopping?
We'll see soon enough that he's a DIY king.
Well, we see him do metalworking. I'm still wondering where the hell he learned how to do that.
I never thought about that. Like, where did the trench coat come from?
Probably scraps of stuff that he found in his hiding place.
Maybe he just he psychically gave
leather.
her an impulse to go buy it, and she didn't know why.
See, that's the most believable one. And then
You
she
think
stored
so?
it in the attic. Well, here's the thing.
Look, I think very few things about this have been believable so far.
Okay, fair enough. But
No, go ahead.
out of all the explanations we can come up with for how Gabriel got his trench coat, I think the one that makes the most sense is Gabriel is actively choosing to be an edgelord and decides, I want to have this trench coat for when I go on my killing sprees to help hide my identity. So I'm gonna have Madison buy this trench coat and store it in the attic so that I can put it on later for my killing spree.
Is it all ripped up and got weird stitching on it and stuff like that?
Vaguely, I think I remember.
I know. I thought it was in pretty nice condition.
Was it?
I think so. I could be wrong, though. Then it goes back to Madison. She's in her house, right?
Uh-huh.
She sees someone, run. And so she's she goes after it.
Is this the scene where she's taking the laundry downstairs? She
Yeah,
gets freaked out,
yeah.
and then she's sitting on the floor
She
this,
goes...
and it turns. Because I think this is a scene where it's why did they keep playing "Where's My Mind"? Because I think they played it for
It's
this
just
too.
his main theme at this point.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it suits him, but only if he chose it.
Yeah, so she goes to put her clothes in the dryer, and she looks over through the little dryer window.
And she realizes she's suddenly not in her house.
Well, she sees the lady screaming at her. The lady yells at her, what are you doing in my house? And she's, confused, and then, does the whole, time, not time flip, but, where everything kind of melts together.
Perception flip.
Yeah, and she sees Gabriel.
He
kills the doctor.
So this is the first scene where she's frozen and witnessing a murder that Gabriel's doing.
Yeah.
Best way
She's
to
also
explain...
freaked out because of the attack in her own house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
best way I can explain what it feels like is happening is when you see it, you immediately think she's somehow getting like a vision of what's happening somewhere else.
She falls to the floor. Again, this is the foot shot again.
Foot shot.
Oh my god.
There are feet in this shot.
Oh, I must have missed it.
You
And then it
weirdo.
I pulled a jack.
I pulled a jack.
What
Ignorance is
feet?
bliss. Go rewatch it. Anyways,
Oh, we will.
the camera, it's not like super...
Cut that out, Jack. Cut that out.
Cut it out. Cut out the cancer.
I'm not cutting it up.
So then the camera like turns around her. It's just like this wide round pan. It's like all the walls just like melt. It's like CG, but it's like good CG.
It's a really cool effect. I like it a lot.
It is neat. I don't know if it completes a full circle or like a circle and a half, like 360 plus more, but it's at least a full circle. And I think she's completely in the other house, right?
Mm.
Or is she back in her own house?
No, she's like in the doctor's house watching the doctor get murdered.
After the 360?
Yeah, because
Okay.
Gabriel's like beating her with
it's
that
brutal.
trophy.
My line here is that he just fucking loves launching her through props. That is his favorite thing in the world to do.
There was a clip of Dr. Weaver slightly before this, and I only have one note on it, but it was showing all of her awards again, like behind her in her office or something like that.
Yeah.
Or this might be from the scene after her police show up. I think it was before, though. And I just saw one that said, excellent surgeon.
Excellent surgeon.
An excellent...
Isn't
The
that
most
murder weapon?
prestigious award.
I don't think that one is. It was like a plaque, if I remember right.
Mm.
But you could be absolutely... But yeah, so he just takes a trophy and just starts...
He takes that like gold one specifically and beats her with it.
Uh,
And then she wakes up, Madison wakes up in her own house after the murder's over.
It becomes very obvious in this scene that his hand is backwards, and then that his everything is backwards.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Kinda
when he
like-
reaches for the weapon, you can very clearly see the hand.
He kind of like shuffles when he walks too, and that's like
Yeah.
awkward. You can tell there's something weird.
Love me an ironic weapon. This is where the trophy really comes through to serve its purpose. Here, immediately after this, is where we've got the scene with the love-struck forensic scientist.
Yeah.
An absolute dog for the detective.
I don't know what you're talking about. There's no chemistry between these two.
There's not, but the
None.
CSI lady has a crush on the detective guy.
It's very sad.
I thought she was just trying to be friendly.
No, she likes him. He has no interest in her.
They acknowledge it, Noah.
It's a little joke they kind of just sprinkle in there.
Okay.
And then,
Oh, I have a note that says, how many jump scares got Jack?
leave me alone. All of them, okay? All of them. They show the scene of Gabriel breaking the trophy down and then sharpening it into a blade. And he's going to use that sharpened trophy for the rest of the movie.
The funny thing is, the trophy is like of like a scalpel or something.
Is it?
Yeah. It was already a blade that just hadn't been sharpened.
I thought it was just kind of like
Yeah.
a pointy
was
triangle
like-
thing with like...
This is a trophy. It just
Oh.
has like a spiral thing around it that he takes off, and it's already a blade.
Oh,
Oh.
it's like the classic, like, the
Caduceus
snake
staff.
wrapped around
Caduceus
the...
staff, yeah. Like what Hermes has.
Yeah, it's like the sign for like a medical professional profession, or like Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Yeah.
But like, it's
What's
not
it
a
look like?
staff, it's a knife underneath the
That's
snake
a
wrapping.
knife.
Yeah, that's a knife right there. Why does Gabriel not just get a fucking knife? Why is he obsessed with this trophy? Because the trophy has nothing to do with him. It's just an achievement Weaver got before he was, like, her project.
Because he has a lot of feelings about the people that tried to kill him off.
It's true.
But the trophy itself is for a different scientific achievement.
Maybe that was like her most prestigious award or something.
Maybe because it's every
I don't know
scene
what it was
she's in.
for.
I think it was big, blunt, sharp, and convenient.
But he holds on to it. He obsesses over it. He's like, give me back my things later on. That,
Turns it
the
into a
coat
sweet
and the
dagger.
trophy, the two things he cares about.
Because when they did concept art for Gabriel, they drew him with the knife that looked a specific way, and they want to stay true to that.
Oh, there we go.
I actually don't have a real answer for you.
I don't know. It's pretty iconic at the end, you know?
Yeah.
He put so much work into making it that I would understand wanting it back, but also that's why I think he made his coat.
Trench coat and knife.
I'm really sold on the idea of having some of it playing in the background.
What were we looking at? What's the next?
I want to know who called the police.
Oh.
The answer is nobody.
Maybe neighbors heard it? We don't know. So it's a photo of young Madison that the police find. Nobody called the police. They find a photo of young Madison. And it's just called a patient or something. Oh, we get the montage. Here, play it. Play it. I want to hear this music.
I'm so sorry,
Hold on.
Jack. He doesn't sharpen it. Oh, yeah, he does. They have a grinder up at their attic.
Who has a big industrial fan like this? With just open air into the attic.
The bugs
God,
must
gotta
be terrible.
Yeah, and the mildew.
I know some
the
older
piano?
houses,
Dun, dun,
right, have
dun,
full
dun,
house
dun.
fans.
It's like intense goosebumps. It's less playful. It has the same elements. It's executed differently. Don't even try it.
Yeah, so after he's done sharpening the knife, we'll see there's a couple of scenes up in the attic where the tour guide is trying to escape, and it makes you wonder why he's keeping her alive.
We don't know it's the attic yet.
She almost gets out of the rope, but is interrupted by Gabriel just, like, tossing the knife with a perfect throw behind him and landing it through, like, the beam that she's tied to.
And it's sharp.
Threatening her. Oh, yeah, it's sharp.
It's a chaotic scene. Or he's just
Chaotic
strong.
scene.
He's also magic for some reason. Well, I mean, there's so many elements where it's like, I don't know. He jumps up onto the ceiling
He
somehow.
has superhuman abilities, it seems like.
Yeah.
It's mostly to do with his climbing, to be honest. I think that's the big one. That and the electricity.
And jumping.
And the wild strength.
I believe the next scene is Maddie freaking out because she saw the murder happen. And her sister either is there, came over, or she called her over. And there's like a scene where she's like turned on the news and is watching it, but then in the other room she's like throwing up in the toilet while her sister is like comforting her because she's so like, I guess, appalled or upset at like this gruesome thing she witnessed, right?
Okay.
But the acting back and forth in that scene I thought was very laughable.
So after...
Goes back to the police.
Can we see the police scene actually that comes next? This. Okay. So they're sitting in like the police station going through tons and tons of records and files. And I just don't think they do that.
Yeah, they do.
They go home at their normal time and they trade shifts.
I don't think so. He's more of like a detective.
I'm just saying the stereotype of this guy, I don't think exists very often.
I don't think that's true. I think there's people who get very involved in certain things. They put extra time into it.
Is this personal for him then, just because of the sister?
Well, I think...
Oh my god, I forgot that he's got the hot spur sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true too. I forgot about that.
Oh, that recontextualizes everything.
Ever since the princess costume.
Hey, there's a lot of people staying late in this department. Do you think they all have, like, very personal cases that they're doing that for?
Conveniently, one of them's the sketch artist. Hey, age this up. You know what I think is frustrating about that? It's shockingly accurate. And, like, sometimes it can be, but never to that extent.
Maybe he's just that good. Did you see the pencil flips he was doing earlier?
No. What?
Put it back a little.
Just
there.
Oh, wow. Man, he had to do something to sell that scene, and he fucking did it.
Immediately endears me to this character. Alright, next victim is old man. Yeah, so we've got this old man who's going to be the next victim. He's talking with someone named John on the phone.
This guy I did recognize.
You did?
Yeah, from the front.
The first doctor got murdered, so he was saying something about the Simeon Hospital, and that's why he was like, don't bring that up.
Oh.
But then his phone cuts out, because, Gabriel.
Yeah. The room's pretty dark. He sees that one of the windows is open. That's when he goes to close it, right? Or is that in a little bit? It's the horror movie thing where you put a character in a room and then you have increasingly suspicious stuff happen around them until they're found and killed. And it just raises tension throughout the whole scene. There's definitely a part of it where you're made to think that, like, the monster's under the bed and about to reach for this guy's feet. Just throwing it out there. Before he pulls his legs up onto the bed.
Feet.
Well, first, there's, like, the whole closet scene that's very suspenseful.
I think it just leads you to believe that that's where the monster's hiding.
Yeah, the camera work keeps, like, throwing red herrings out to make you think the monster's in different places.
Yeah, he, like, goes into the closet, and the door, like, starts to slowly close, and it's kind of scary.
I think
but then there's nothing really there.
It is really well done. It is high
Oh,
tension.
absolutely. Probably the best tension in the movie.
I'd
The
agree.
most important aspect of the scene, though, is the red light that's flooding into his room from a nearby sign. It's there for, like, every shot of the scene, and it's what, like, leads into the next sort of psychic connection-like thing that Madison does. But yeah, when Madison is called to, like, witness this murder, red light just floods her room, and then she realizes she's not lying in her bed, she's lying in the bed of a man who's about to be slaughtered.
Very creepy.
Can we hear the
Very
scream?
creepy.
I just have that scream. Oh, written down.
It is pretty bad. I did not notice it.
I love that.
God.
But yeah, so there's a lot that goes on in this scene that just kind of like happens to build up tension that you don't like notice any particular things. It's the light going out in the closet. It's how he wanders in and there's just like dark corners everywhere. He checks behind the door and shit. He wanders back, he looks out the window, you see the monster appear behind him and then like he turns around and it's not there. There's just so many horror tropes going on that play into making a great scene here.
Sure.
And then, like, how uncomfortable it is when, like, the killer's climbing over her to get to the guy.
Yeah, like when she awakens in his bed, the killer has to climb over her to get to him. The hair drags over her. She gets so close to, the monster.
Very creepy.
The movie, when it's at its best, it's scenes like this. This is what it can do very well.
I think it's probably the best scene.
Yeah.
That's why it's the title. Well, not the title. The cover art.
The Malignant. I should call it that instead of the monster, Mr. Malignant.
Mr. Malignant.
Mr. Malignant. You also see the monster's face really well for the first time after this scene.
Hey, we do have the telling the cops scene coming up soon. Because they don't have it reported immediately, so she's got to be the one to tell the cops where the killing happened at. That there has been another killing. She tells them that she's a psychic. They don't believe her at first, but then the sister goes, "You've got to believe us." And the cop who's kind of fallen for the sister, that sort of changes his tune.
After they tell the detectives about everything, they go with them to the hotel room to see the murder.
It's across from the hotel. That was an apartment.
Whatever. Apartment.
The location.
Where the doctor was killed.
We've established this.
And they're like, we don't want your help with this, even though they brought them all the way to the place.
Presumably only so that, they're not going to be able to arrest them either way. They should arrest them. Actually, they absolutely can after they find the body.
Well,
It's like, okay, they find the body, right?
yeah.
Madison is currently suspect number one because there wasn't a break-in at her house when the husband was killed by presumably the same perpetrator. All right? On that unsolved mystery. She tells them where the body is on another person in this string of murders. And they don't arrest her on the spot there.
I thought they did.
No, they arrest her later. They wait until they see the drawing.
Yeah, true.
It's so dumb. In fact, if they arrest her there, it would have saved so much time in this movie. And lives.
So anyways,
Okay.
In the bathroom at the police
they
station?
go back to the police station. They do a sketch of the killer based on what Madison tells them. She goes to the bathroom. She gets a phone call from Gabriel.
Right.
He calls her Emily.
He calls Madison Emily, and he says he's going to make them all pay. And then she says, Gabriel, no. Because she remembers his name all of a sudden.
Yeah. Okay, so Madison and her sister leave the police station. And then moments later, the sketch artist comes over and says something about the sketch being on the detective's desk. That's why you brought her in? The girl in the picture.
Look at that.
Oh
That's
my
a
God.
sketch, huh?
He colored that shit.
He did. It's a photograph.
It literally, the police sketch looks like they just put a photo of this actor through like some kind of filter to make it look like a drawing. She has left the police station. They've seen the sketch, and she's on her way to see her mom to ask about Gabriel.
Her adopted mother.
Adoptive mother. Because she remembers the adoptive mother telling her that's all in her head and that there isn't a Gabriel.
Just forget about it.
Forget about it.
There's a home video that her adopted mother shows her of like her seemingly talking to herself. But you know, it was really Gabriel.
Okay, Madison goes to see her mom to ask about siblings. She mentions a Gabriel, thinking that Gabriel might be like a long-lost brother or something. And the mom gets terrified and gets out old tapes of her 9th birthday. Gabriel is an imaginary friend of sorts, or so the family is saying. And Gabriel was talking to Madison through a toy phone that she owned.
Yes.
We also learn here that he's mad at her for having a quote-unquote normal life.
To quote the mother, "We thought you created Gabriel to deal with trauma, and if we gave you enough love, you wouldn't need him anymore."
Enough love will fix all problems.
Exactly. She's an adoptive child. They don't know what she went through before they adopted her. They were told, though, that the mother was killed or died during childbirth.
I love how all the home videos are just a montage of every time she's being creepy with Gabriel.
You're right.
Like, do these just lead one into the next, or are they changing out tapes and finding specific things?
Yeah, so Gabriel's talking to her
She's
through the
got
toy
her
phone.
fucked up child file.
Yeah. Gabriel is telling her through the toy phone that they're not going to love her anymore when the new baby comes.
Oh,
And she's saying, like, that's not true.
For the viewers out there, there is a book that has like a classic like cutout of the pages. Like
It's
square
not a
in
book.
the middle that goes.
It's
to
a
the teeth.
file.
It's a file, so it's
Yeah.
like a 3-ring binder where a bunch of pages are cut out like a book with a secret stash
it's a file
in it.
from the doctor's office that they took
This
earlier.
is a 3-ring binder with a hole cut into the pages like
Yep.
you were putting a secret compartment inside a book. And then there's just a bunch of fucking USB sticks cluttered around inside it.
Or it's a
in this
DIY,
cupboard.
the
like,
doctor, she
shadow
was
box
guilty,
for it.
apparently.
But that's such a dumb way to
But
do
it is a
that.
dumb way to
Holy
do it.
shit.
There are
Those
some
just
other
rattle
names.
around in there.
There's some what?
I wonder who these other names are.
Well, that's the sequel, Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah, for when Gabriel teams up with his other.
That's just her medical excellence.
Yeah.
We got a whole superhero squad here.
Yeah, he finds the USB.
The detective, that is.
He figures out who the doctors were. He figures out who the third doctor is, and that's Gabriel's next victim, obviously. So he rushes off to try to save him.
Yeah, so the officer arrives at the location of one of the names, and it just happens to be the one that Gabriel's attacking next, right in the nick of time. The man has already been killed, so I guess not right in the nick of time. He looks around, and Madeline is yelling at... Madison? Madeline?
Madison.
Madison is yelling at him, "Look behind you," but she's not really there, so he can't hear her.
So then Malignant falls off the ceiling and tries to attack the cop.
He's got one trick, and by
The
God does he
detective.
use it.
And
Ambush Predator.
I think he ends up cutting him, like slashing him like once, I'm not sure where. And
Or vital.
then he's like wrestling with him and throws him
A
off.
bullet goes off and hits the mirror.
So he injures the detective, gets up off him, tries to run, goes down the hall. The detective gets up and follows him, and they're climbing down the fire escape.
Oh, Gabriel jumps out the window and flips down the fucking fire escape, like, unbelievably.
I'll be honest,
Like, incredible gymnastics or whatever, parkour or whatever you want to call it.
Wait, no, he just like falls.
No, he
he
doesn't.
does some parkour. He grabs the catwalk as he goes down multiple times. Or not catwalk, a fire escape. He's like on the outside of the fire escape, grabbing the railing, dropping, grabbing another railing, dropping, grabbing another
That's
to go
not
down
that hard to
quickly.
do.
Yeah, it is.
You
go
just need
do
the
it.
confidence to do it.
Maybe.
A lot of movies feel like video games these days.
You sound like you play a lot of video games.
I watch people play a lot of video games.
Oh my God, that's what's doing it.
It's not true. The Batman absolutely had video game elements to it.
At times, yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe it's just made for an audience who's like, one of their primary media that they consume is video games.
I would believe that.
As opposed to like an audience where maybe one of the primary media that they consume is books.
I think it's just a more popular media these days too, so it's easy to take inspiration from it.
Yeah.
But I do see the influences.
I think smart people than us could have that conversation.
Oh. Yeah.
So they get down, they run down the sidewalk. Gabriel breaks into a window that leads into underground.
To the underground.
Starts off in like a boiler room that goes into like the underground city area that kind of saw earlier in the movie with the tour guide. And there's like a little chase scene and, they fight some more. Gabriel gets away.
They use this Under City as like a really great set piece, but it's some Thief vibes. They keep going back to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's suspenseful.
It's suspenseful.
Scary.
They take Emily to a hypnotist to try and unlock the old memories because the police have figured out a little bit more about her past.
So when they go to the hypnotist, she recalls, and they do a flashback scene through the regression of Gabriel tricking Madison into trying to kill her mother / the new baby.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there are more scenes than that, but there's that one specifically.
There's literally like a scene framed around Madison holding the knife over her mom's womb.
And the same, like, trickery that's going on for, like, a location melting away, and then all of a sudden, haha.
Becomes kind of evident that, like, it's almost like Gabriel's putting Madison into some sort of hypnotism and driving her to do things. Or at least was doing that as a kid, and the same effects are here when she's an adult. So it really makes it feel like Madison is the killer that we're looking for. And maybe Gabriel's all on her head, and she's crazy. I think that's what the movie's trying to spell or sell right now in this moment.
Yeah.
But then one scene later, it's going to change.
I think it works, though. I like it. I think there are a bunch of parts. I wish the movie was more of that, again, like...
It's that there's a lot of things that the movie's trying to do and cannot devote much time to that all end up mashed together.
It could have been longer.
It could have.
It felt like a relatively short movie.
So... After the hypnotism gets a violent response from Madison of convulsing, I think, the ceiling breaks open because the tour guide, who has been tied up in her attic, falls through into the room as like their way of ending this scene. And it does a lot to try and sell the idea that Madison is the killer and convinces the police to tie her up and bring her in. I mean, not tie her up, but
tie her up.
Sorry, I'm still thinking of the tour guide.
Oh.
Tour guide is going to have to be hospitalized and won't be able to talk for a little bit after this. So the things she says later are going to be kind of important, though.
Also felt kind of jump scary.
Oh, absolutely. Like, it showed that the tour guide was getting free, but falling through the ceiling feels like it came out of nowhere.
So this is also a reveal for the viewer that Gabriel's lair is in her own attic. And I think it's like really punchy and a fun way to end the scene.
Yeah, I think they did really well for that.
Do you have notes specifically? They arrest her after the lady falls out of her ceiling, obviously. Which, sure, that makes sense, I guess. Why wouldn't you?
I mean, there was a time to arrest her, would have been sooner, but they can arrest her now, I suppose. They can't not arrest her
They
now.
don't even know if this is connected, though. She could just have someone else completely in her attic.
Well, if there's someone killing and holding hostages in your house, you're kind of a major suspect.
I mean, she should probably go to jail either way. But, I don't know, it just thought it was funny.
Got to jail the moment she found that body.
Does she get interrogated as soon as she goes to jail?
Yeah.
Her sister decides to drive to the asylum all alone. And so you're thinking, like, this bitch, like, what is she doing?
I don't know, it seems very reasonable.
Yeah, an old abandoned asylum that's, like, dangerous, and she just goes there alone. So you're thinking something bad's gonna happen to her, but...
It's not smart.
Actually, nothing happens to her.
Yeah. There was a big... I think this is up there for a contender in amount of tension in a scene.
Yeah.
You drive out to an
There's a lot of
asylum right now, nothing will happen.
Especially since there's, like, a noise that she hears, too. So you're like, oh, no, what's gonna happen to her? And then she's just...
But nothing
back at her
because
mom's.
Madison's at the police station. That should also be another clue, honestly, in hindsight.
Then they go into the jail scene. They toss her into a cell with a bunch of other people.
It goes
Jail
to
cell
her
right
sister and her adopted mom watching the tape.
The adoptive
And
mom's
that's
very
when-
mad because she goes, "Oh, they told me her mom was dead."
That's when they talk about how her mother was raped, and she gave up her children to the asylum.
Her sister really did Nancy Drew this.
Yeah.
Does somebody say cock knockers? Because I have that written as a note.
I
Do you have that written as a note?
No, but I remember that.
Told me that she died while giving birth. Cock-knockers.
I was the mom.
me
Such
and
language.
Anna, we're both just like, what the fuck was
Cock
that?
knockers.
Cock knockers.
Just they're saying that.
Is that a real say? Is that a thing?
It is now. I'm bringing it back.
So then the mother is in the hospital, I guess is the next scene. And the detective is there. Is he wanting to talk to her, or is he just checking in on her? Oh, the mother's the tour lady.
The mother is a tour
Yeah,
lady.
the mother's the tour guide. She is currently hospitalized.
Now
They
it
can't
makes
talk to her.
sense who she was and why she got
You
kidnapped.
know, why she's been important for the past, hour and 30 minutes of the movie.
I was
Yeah.
confused when I first saw the tour scene.
Yeah, of course.
And I kept forgetting about her until she fell through the ceiling.
Yeah, and that's why Gabriel's kept her alive all this time.
Well, there's another reason.
More tapes.
This is where you see the reveal of them being conjoined.
So the other tapes is going to be Emily, and they show Gabriel on Emily's back.
And they talk about the experiments in which, or just
Well, they
asking-
explain that Gabriel is like a parasitic twin to Emily. He can also control what she sees.
So now we're back. As they finish up with that and the reveal of Gabriel on the back of Emily or Madison, they go back to the jail scene. And I am upset with the scene, again, just for bizarre choices that are made, because, hey, as an action scene, very cool. I like it a lot. But they did choose, a queer-coded character and a black character to come up and just start beating the shit out of Emily. Strange choice.
I want you to talk about this, but I think we literally have not described Gabriel yet.
Oh, do you want to describe Gabriel?
Gabriel is a parasitic twin, or that's what they say, or a conjoined twin, or they also call him a tumor. They're kind of really indirect about what exactly Gabriel is.
Tumor.
But visually, he's just like a set of arms and like a second face and some ribs connected to her body, like it's fused into her. Are we about to see the scene where they try to seal Gabriel away in
Yeah.
her?
At the same time as the prison scene, they're also flashing back to the video of them
So let's describe this one
taking
first.
Gabriel away.
Gabriel, we find out, is drawing away nutrients from Madison. So Madison probably won't be able to survive very much longer with Gabriel connected to her. So what they do is they cut away as much of Gabriel as they could, but part of him is fused with Madison's brain. So they had to leave part of him connected and then close the skull up.
And it's really fucked up.
Yeah, it's really fucked up.
They know that they leave part of him there and they seal him inside of her head, which is really weird to
They
watch.
say he's dormant.
Yeah, but that's still just
It's weird. It's weird. I also said to Anna while we were watching this, I was like, I don't think that's how this works.
It's not how it works.
well,
in the
at
scope
the
of the
experimental
movie, though.
hospital, it does work.
Even if that works in the scope of the movie, it's really weird that they put her
Wait,
up
what
for
is-
adoption
there's
with
just-
someone who wouldn't know about
What
this.
did you call that building? Arkham Asylum?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just two doctors over a table, and it's like, well, what about this? And the other one's, I don't know, try it. It's a very unsettling thought.
Why wouldn't they tell the adoptive parent about this? Any ideas?
Because that was fucked up. They don't want to tell anybody.
It's the only
about it.
thing they could do.
He also killed
Was
a
it
bunch
legal?
of people, though.
Probably.
Remember? He killed a bunch of people. And
Oh,
that's when they decided to cut him
yeah.
out. Yeah.
Because
They
I don't think
they
that's
don't want
why...
to talk about any of that. They want that to go away.
Was he actually killing Emily, or was he...
Then why would they
were
just
they afraid of him?
keep her as a adopted child there?
Because I think they shut that place down after that.
Because they're doing
Well, at the
shit
very
like
least,
this.
someone who knows about what happened had to have been the caretaker for him. Otherwise, it's so dumb.
No. Well, the
No,
only way
a
she
bunch
could
of
be
people
adopted is
died.
if we cut him out.
Yeah, they cut him out. They shut that place down.
At least say there's some health
Put it up
complications
for
and have
adoption.
someone check in every once in a while.
They did not give a
There's
fuck.
probably no record. It didn't matter
There's
what.
definitely a record of her. We've seen records of her.
Hidden in that book inside the
Oh,
surgeon's office The excellent surgeon.
You're right.
You doing all right there?
The excellent.
I'm hanging in there.
Hanging in there.
Hanging in there. Sorry, people. My voice sucks.
You're fine.
And then they go all Mortal Kombat in the jail cell.
Yeah, now you can talk about it.
I think that scene's really cool. I do think that the decision to have those two people come up and pick a fight with Madison was a choice. A choice that I might not have done, but I see
Is
it a lot
the
in
only
media,
black person in the cell?
and it upsets me.
Well,
I don't know if it's the only
that's
black
what I'm
person in the cell, but it's like one of the only
there's a
people of color
lady peeing in the background.
movie.
What?
There's just a lady that's like peeing in the background when that happens. It's really weird.
I like the action of it. I like the choreography of it. It is fun. A bit ridiculous and slapstick at times, but very fun.
Well, describe the scene that you're talking about
Yeah,
for the
so
listener.
So in between that, they show her getting beat up / starting to fight back in the jail cell. That is Madison or Emily. While cutting back to footage of the video that her sister found and is watching with the mom. And the parallel is her also struggling, or I guess Gabriel struggling, while they take him to the table to try and cut him out. And during this whole scene, as it's coming back and forth, Madison, I guess, turns in, or I guess Gabriel takes control of Madison's
midway
body?
through the jail fight, Gabriel takes control and everything immediately turns around.
It's like a Mortal Kombat scene.
Well, she like
It really is. It
snaps
gets
her
really
arms
brutal
around
and visceral.
and stuff first. Like when Gabriel assumes control, she like twists her legs backwards. You can like hear her bones snap.
Which doesn't make sense, because Gabriel would
Yeah, that doesn't make sense because before she was running around as Gabriel and she was fine.
She's double jointed.
Unless he just snapped it back afterwards.
Maybe...
But then it wouldn't be backwards. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe Gabriel wasn't snapping things around because he didn't want to harm Madison in a way that people could see earlier.
Oh,
But now that the
and that's
cat's
the
out of the
reason-
bag, he's going like full
The reason
Gabriel.
why his fighting skills weren't as good, he didn't kill the cop. But now he's just completely...
Oh, so he's going 100%.
He's over
He's
9,000.
100% of his power instead of 10%.
It's like when Piccolo takes off the,
Yeah.
headdress in the...
When Rock Lee drops his
Which-
weights? No?
What is
Yes.
Okay, cool.
that? Is
Naruto.
that one of your animas?
Onomatopoeia.
I need to show you the Rock Lee fight. I
Wait,
didn't
where
get
were
a
we?
lot of that one.
Honestly, up into Shippuden? Shippuden? How do you pronounce
Oh,
it?
yeah.
Shippuden.
We
I
forgot
say
about this
Shippuden, but
part.
my sister made fun of me for it.
When Gabriel assumes control,
Well, this is
she rips her head open.
Feel free to correct us on our pronunciation of Shippuden in the comments by typing out Shippuden.
I would like to know, because I do pronounce it Shippuden.
God, that's so fucked up.
This is also not how it works.
Yeah, it is.
Does she twist her legs around? No, she doesn't.
Watch. She's about to do it.
How do you not get one hell of an infection when you rip open
Oh
the
my
back of your
God.
head?
This doesn't make sense. See, there's a lot of concepts, and they want to do this, like, gruesome, like, turning around thing, but at the same time...
I
Okay,
guess-
so maybe it's just her arms. She just rips her ear.
This is where the movie
Not the
is
ear, part of the
gets
neck.
100% action, 200% fucked up.
You get the transformation scene of, like, stretching out the joints and stuff so that Gabriel can move in, like, a better range of movement or whatever.
Or at
Gabriel
least
just
his
then
shoulders and arms.
He takes a couple steps forward, just reaches out and just grabs a chunk of flesh out of one of the other people's necks.
And then just starts killing everybody.
Everybody screams, runs for the edge of the jail cell, and yeah, they all die as she slowly reaches the edge of the room. It's kind of a slaughter.
And then the jail cop, like...
Oh, yeah. Reach your hand all the way to the cell.
Oh yeah, I've got some notes here. Let me just scroll down a little bit.
The jail cop
Oh yeah.
starts shooting at her as she uses a person as a human shield and runs up to what's it called? The jail door.
So what I've
And
got
kills the cop.
what I've got written here is, why does the guard unload so many shots into this human shield? Why doesn't he step back? I counted 14 shots coming out of his
He
magazine.
just keeps shooting even though he knows he's hitting the same person.
He fires so many shots in the human shield, and he just stays there, like, sticking his
doesn't-
gun through the bars. And she reaches over, grabs his arm, pulls him towards the bars, gets the keys off of him, kills him, and unlocks the door. If he was just a couple feet back, this would be where the movie ends.
Yeah, why didn't he take like 3 steps back? Movie
If
over.
he took 3 steps back, movie over, he calls some more people over, they just unload a bunch of shots into her, movie done. But no, now we'll have the police station slaughter, which is, quite a slaughter. Yeah, I got nothing to say. Nothing
gonna
that
wait
Jack
for
would
Noah.
remove from here.
The next scene is the sister going to the police station to tell the cops about everything she learned about the truth.
Intercut by Gabriel cooking bacon.
It's a phone call,
Another big fan.
and he needs to get
I'm
to
a
the
fan of
hospital.
all these big fans.
Hey, listen. Gabriel is
Oh, she
inside of
calls
Madison.
him.
He's been using her this whole time. He's been controlling her body like a puppet.
Oh, Sydney, slow down. You're not making any sense.
I found Madison.
Is that the same
She
fan?
was born with a parasitic twin. Gabriel has been dormant all of these years. When Derek smashed Madison's head against the
No,
wall,
that-
he woke Gabriel out.
Sydney, that's insane.
Madison's birth.
So what do we say about this one?
So she does know everything in the end.
Nick's the line we said about her arriving at the police station to explain to them, because apparently it was a phone call.
Well, she
Her
has
sister calls the police on the way.
that detective's personal number.
Yeah! That's
Oh,
wild.
they give out those business cards.
Anyways.
If you need anything, I'm here.
Gabriel breaks into the evidence room so he can get his trench coat and his weapon back. Meanwhile, killing everyone in his way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he does that first.
Oh.
And what's her name?
The forensics lady?
Yeah, the forensic lady hides in the evidence room. While he gathers his stuff.
She was already in there.
Well,
I
yeah.
think she's literally putting that stuff in there as this happened.
Oh,
So she's like, oh shit, I gotta drop this and hide.
also very intense scene.
Yep. Hang in the trench coat.
Yeah.
Yep.
How far do you think you would go to get these things back? If, he found out that they put it in, a different department's locker or something, would he then have to, grab onto and threaten a person to tell him where it's at?
Where is it?
Need my shit. I can't go kill him.
Where is it? I'm pretty sure he would just kill.
He'd be like, oh, this was meaningless detour. Yeah, Gabriel puts his coat on, looks cool as hell doing it. I think when he is escaping is when he's intercepted by, the cop and the other forensics officer with the shotgun, and they scare him off. Hurts him a bit, though.
Well, first,
We've got a little bit of a showdown.
he gets his weapon back and just starts fucking murdering everybody. And
Really don't feel like he needs it, to be honest.
it's pretty cool. It's just, shot well. I don't know. I think it's one of the better action scenes that I've seen in a while in movies.
You've watched action movies. It's blurry. It's running around, using covers, stabbing people.
It's not blurry.
I haven't seen that many action movies recently, but I agree with Jack. I think it's well done. I
this
thoroughly
is,
enjoyed
it's
it.
pretty good. Pretty
I
well
just kind of
done.
wrote it off in my mind as all right, here's your action movie scene.
No, it's good. Okay, I hear the Goosebumps thing now.
Right? I don't hate it.
It's a good track.
I just love how there's that and the Pixies. It's okay.
Bam. Bam. The whole time he's killing everybody, you just see Emily's face on the back of him, and it's so strange.
Yeah, with the effects and the costuming, and it almost looks like there'd be a green screened apparatus attached to his back that's staring at him with the angles this gets.
I
It's
think
a
his
fun
body
Yeah.
is CGI, if I had to guess.
I don't
think there's any way an actor's doing this.
I don't think so.
I think some of it.
I I think it's just shock.
I think they've got like one stunt artist that they swap in for like something like this where you don't get a clear vision.
But that was all like one shot. Now it's cutting back and forth again. And they did a good job of making her seeing backwards, too,
Yeah.
while this was going on.
Something I really love about The Matrix is the debris and everything in the background, you know, and like the environment. Because a lot of stuff nowadays is just like CGI, or I feel like they just don't really care that much.
It makes it feel chaotic. I like it.
Yeah, it's cool. It gives you that video game feeling, I guess, that you guys were talking about earlier.
I think this scene feels less video gamey than the jail scene. I think the jail scene definitely felt like there was a quick time there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the camera the angle on this and how it like swoops, especially in that first like bit where he starts fucking people up, I think it's just a really cool effect.
Yeah.
There's obviously some CG to it, I'm sure, but
it looks
still
good.
like
I mean,
it.
if there is, you can't really tell. It's not like
if you
other
want,
than her face being there is like weird, but I think it's really well done. The detective is about to shoot Gabriel, but then he realizes Emily is still there, so he doesn't.
I'd take the shot.
And just lets everyone else die. He should have took the shot.
He's so sweaty.
She still thinks she's in the jail cell because Gabriel has her like trapped inside her own mind.
In a mind timeout.
Yeah, a mind timeout. Until the cop yells at her. Then she starts seeing dead policemen and she starts like trying to wake up.
They're just like lining the cell around her, where like she wasn't, I guess, necessarily paying attention or consciously aware of it. So when you zoom in on the scene, it shows Madison sitting there. He's like, Madison! And it goes into this echoey voice and zooming in on her face. And you see different cellmates in the prison, but then she turns her head and the camera like follows with it. And instead, where the cellmates were, it's just like dead cops.
We're coming up to one of my favorite parts.
You like the stuff flying around.
Hold on, it's even better than that.
Wait, is that confetti?
Oh my god.
Oh no.
Good
Figured out the
pause,
movie
Jack.
magic.
Good pause.
I want to shoot a confetti.
The woman detective gets in a fight with Gabriel,
You think they edit like debris on top of that?
grabs a shotgun, shoots at him. Apparently it's confetti. If you pause the movie at the right time.
I think there's probably like...
Maybe that's paper on the table. What the fuck?
There's
No,
probably-
that's definitely coming out of the gun.
There's probably like squibs on the desk too. So like not
Yeah.
actually like squibs, but like stuff that like blows it off, and she just has to like shoot the confetti as those go off. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't look super edited in any way. It definitely looks practical to some degree, and I do love the bits of stuff flying off things.
Then Gabriel is like, oh, fuck that. That's a shotgun. And he's got to make his way out of there.
So he slashes her in the stomach. Did you say
That's
that?
definitely a
Hold on.
person running away.
Oh my god.
Watch this. He throws a chair.
I love that.
So she's
He doesn't go back to finish them. He now leaves.
And
she gets slashed across the stomach, and she falls to the floor and grasps for a shotgun. Which again, Gabriel's like, "Fuck this." and
She
leaves.
being one of the forensic scientists.
No, the other detective.
Yeah,
The forensic scientist
I
is
thought
still...
she was like the head of the forensics department. The other
Oh,
person was
is
just
she?
like
no, they're both detectives.
was she?
They're partners.
Oh,
So it's not the...
that's
It's...
the wrong read of her the entire movie. I've said forensic scientist so many times.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the forensic
Yes, there's
scientist.
that scene where she's showing him like the evidence that they've found from looking at the body. The forensic scientist never does that.
That's because they give it to the cop, and then the cop shares it with them.
So she
I
gets
don't know.
slashed in the stomach, falls to the ground, grasps her shotgun, starts trying to shoot at Gabriel. He crawls around to the corner of the room. The other detective is trying to help her out of the room, and he just whips a chair. Like
Across the entire fucking room. That's like, how many feet do you think?
and nails it.
At least 50 feet.
More than 50.
More than 50. Let's say 100 feet. Why not?
100 sounds about right. Nails it, absolutely cripples them to the ground.
Does not kill them.
No. He
Should that
goes,
kill him?
all right, everybody in this room is dead except for those two, and they're crippled on the ground. I think it's time to make my exit.
Next scene is the hospital.
Neat shit. Then we go on to the hospital scene. That's the last of the movie.
Because, of course, Gabriel wants to go there and kill his mother. So the sister gets to the hospital.
I'm sorry. Nobody is allowed here. I cannot let you by unless Detective Shaw is here with... Ow! Ow!
What's wrong? Are you okay?
Oh,
Oh my god. Are you having a heart attack?
no! My pacemaker.
Okay.
It's burning.
Okay, so we've got the scene where Gabriel has started his attack at the hospital. The guard is dead. He's chased the sister into the room where the mom is. He's got this whole spiel about how Madison chose, is her name Sydney?
Sydney.
Madison chose Sydney over him. And he was saving her for last for his revenge.
How could he save Sydney for last if the mom's still alive?
Well, I mean, that's why he's saying it now. I was saving you for last, but here we are.
Why?
Yes.
Why didn't he kill the mom when he had the chance? What was his
He was
reasoning
saving
for that?
her for last, too.
Oh.
Saving her for second to last.
He's got a very specific list going.
He's got to do it in
Checking
order.
it twice.
And he feels more betrayed by Madison abandoning Kim, his twin sister, than his mother.
It really feels like he's got a lot of pent-up anger towards Madison that he needs to express through attacking other people Madison's related to. Oh my god. You're right, he does do something. He reminds Gabriel that he's in a fight.
I saw that knife go through a floor. Like, that thing shouldn't have been stuck inside his shoulder. It should have just fucking obliterated his whole arm off.
The
mother.
Yeah. Go for it.
You go for it.
Oh, you go for it. Okay, I'll go for it. The mother explains that she should never have given Gabriel and Madison up. There's a moment where we see tears come out of Madison's eyes, and Gabriel has paused and seems to almost be having like a moment of reflection after hearing this from his mother, right? From his birth mother. It's interrupted by the cop showing up, opening the door, and finally doing something by shooting Gabriel and putting him back into aggro mode. He throws the knife at the cop, and it just fucking crumbles the cop. He is, I don't think dead, but like, if he was an extra, he would be dead right now. Honestly, that role could have been fulfilled by just a security guard. I don't think the cops really did anything for this movie. Okay, so after having thrown the knife at the cop, Sydney goes over and picks up the gun. And she points the gun at Gabriel. And Gabriel seems to want to have this conclude as a tragedy. He is devoted to that being the end here. So he demands that Sydney shoots him. She refuses to do it because she knows that she'd be killing Madison by doing so. And says, I don't want to kill my sister. That, pisses Gabriel off. He shouts, she's not your sister. And flips a hospital bed to trap her underneath it.
She looks pretty pinned.
Yeah. With Sydney pinned down, she screams out, trying to get Madison to wake back up, right? She mentions that Gabriel, to build himself back up and become conscious again, after having been cut out, he had to feed off of the energy that would have been going to her children, causing her children to die in the womb and all the miscarriages that she endured. Really upsets Madison, which gives her enough control to wrestle back from Gabriel just enough to pull something off. But before we see that, we get a little bit of a red herring here.
So she starts to fight back, but she just balls her fist up. And then we watch Gabriel go over and shoot the sister as the mom in the bed screams, "No, Gabriel, don't do it!" And so he shoots the sister in the head. Nuts. Honestly, when I saw this, it was pretty upsetting. I was very disappointed that she died. I didn't want her to die. And then he goes over and suffocates the mother in the bed. And then the walls start shifting behind him, and he's confused, and until it gets pitch black all around him, and he's looking around, he's confused, and everything melts away, as we've seen with Madison before, and then Madison walks out of the dark, and I forget what they say in the scene, but she's basically just like, I got you.
I can do all the tricks you can do. It actually works pretty well. I kind of like the twist there.
And then she puts him in a little mind prison. And I believe forcefully closes her skull with her hands, a la in the jail scene where she pries it open. Which I do want to reiterate is not how skulls work, but it's an interesting scene.
God, that hair is so different. They use different products when they're swapping back and forth. It's also like...
Well, this is how Gabriel sees himself in Madison's eyes.
Fair enough. I vaguely remembered her saying something like, "No, Gabriel, you're always evil," or whatever here, right?
Yep.
Which I'd like to reiterate for an earlier conversation.
But, I mean...
Usually when it's like the last thing said in a movie, part of what the movie's trying to communicate.
The movie.
Yeah, because he's a demon.
Because he's a demon.
It's because it's a demon.
You can't lock me in here forever. You'll always be stuck with me. Sooner or later, I will get out.
I know. But next time, I'll be ready for you.
She's got Gabriel, she's got Mr. Malignant locked away behind, like, a jail cell cage. It is like a sort of... It looks exactly like the setup for the Nine Tails in Naruto. And from this point going forward, she has her super strength from Gabriel.
Also, she got shot, and she's just fine. Okay, so she beats off Gabriel.
Beats off Gabriel, huh?
She beats off Gabriel in the Mind Palace.
She fights him off in the Mind Palace. She apparently can auto-heal.
Because she heals up the crack in her skull, which seals Gabriel away.
And the gunshots.
And the gunshot, apparently. I don't think that had anything vital, though. I think that was just, like, to the shoulder or something.
Still. Okay, I thought that this line was weird.
The one about blood connection? It was weird to say earlier also, because I know that it was supposed to lead into Gabriel, right? It was
yeah, she did say
I've always felt like I've been yearning for a connection I don't have, like a blood connection, right? And then we find out about Gabriel, and that line makes sense. I think this is just going full circle on that line, so it's not just, like, hanging there.
It basically just ends after this. Like, she says, "I'll be ready next time." So, it, like, sets up some sort of sequel, but I don't think there's actually going to be a sequel.
Line.
I expected there to be an after credits for this, but there wasn't.
For what?
Just for something to happen, like with Gabriel or something, I don't know. I watched this right after watching Constantine.
Okay.
You know, so kind of put the whole demon thing more in my head. Like, oh, the fact that his name is Gabriel, too.
There are a lot of allusions to it. I can see it.
So for me, that's the truth that I accept.
This is your headcanon for Malignant?
Yep.
Gotcha. I might like it better if they just explicitly said that. I think it was gorgeous. It was really well done. Again, I like the action scene, especially when Madison and Gabriel are like flipping around that police station. I think that's really fun. I like the parkour off the side. The whole chase scene with the detective right after that is really cool too. Lighting was neat. Even the visual effects were like really well done. I loved the look of it. I like the style of it. It confused me a lot. I do think it felt like a movie that wanted to misdirect you a lot, but I do think, and I have already stated this, that earlier in the movie, it does just kind of lie to you. So I don't think it's as clever as it kind of wants to be, but there are a lot of other things that just, I guess by talking about it or rewatching some scenes, that I appreciate a lot more and like kind of takes away from that. Well, doesn't take away from it. It like makes me appreciate the film more. There's a lot more details that they added for that I liked.
I think it's a really interesting concept, so it gets pretty far on novelty alone. Visually, like you said, the movie's really good. Does a great job building up tension. I think part of that might be just that I don't watch a whole lot of horror movies, so I'm going to be impressed a little bit more by that. But it's serviceable. It's not really a genre I like that much, so I think I'm going to be a little bit harsher on it.
I'm fine with this genre. I don't know if I'm fine with this movie. You know, I wish it did lean into the camp a bit more. I think that could have been really fun and worked really well for it.
I think I enjoyed it because there were a lot of times where, because I didn't have a full grasp on what they were trying to do, it left me questioning what was going on. And that adds a lot of value to the movie. It gives you just enough details that you try to figure out what's going for the whole time.
Do you think it's worth a rewatch? Did you like seeing stuff again? Or did that, like...
Well, I like seeing some stuff again. I don't think the movie would be good on the second time, but very few movies are.
Kind of like...
more...
Because the tension is completely dispelled.
Funny the second time.
I think...
I would call that rewatch value, then. There were a lot of details that I picked up on only after watching certain parts again.
There's a lot to chew on. I think I would get value out of doing like a proper review of it, going through scene by scene, trying to figure out like why each component is like there, why like each individual aspect was added in by the creators. Because it definitely seems like it has a lot of conviction isn't the right word.
It feels a bit scattered, and I think it gets hard to tell what is super purposeful and what isn't, because it is constantly trying to misdirect you, or certain characters are trying to misdirect you a lot of the time, which makes it a little bit harder to break down, or at least in the moment, or on the first watch.
That's why I want to go through and try to analyze every element. There's like a lot of things that you can remove. What the fuck was going on with the cops, to be perfectly honest? It really feels like they wanted to do so much more with them, but ultimately cut a lot, but kept them in. Because they were like working on trying to give them personalities, but never gave them scenes.
I don't think anyone really felt fleshed out.
No.
I think the cops are necessary, or like as characters in this film. I just don't think... I think it could have been fit together better.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I wasn't saying that they're unnecessary. I just really feel like it's weird how they're attached to the story. It feels like there's a disconnect.
I kind of like it.
I don't think so. The cops are just investigating the murders and stuff, trying to figure out what's going on.
It didn't make it super jarring. I think there were times where it didn't know what it wanted to be. I think it's on a much smaller level, though. Like with the, where is my mind? It's serious and like stuff's playing. And we don't know who this person is, and all of a sudden they're captured by Gabriel, and then it just like cuts to forensic scientists like trying to flirt with the cop and him having nothing to do with it. And you're like, murder, huh? And you're like, I have so many questions about what just happened. And then as soon as you ease back into this, where it's like kind of chill again, but like, now I'm thinking about it, then it just jolts you back into like Madison's perspective, and then all of a sudden Madison's perspective isn't weird because isn't real because Gabriel's killing someone. So I think that really, as soon as it puts you on a leash, it just drags you through the next few scenes, and it's interesting. What would you rate it?
Low 7. Somewhere between 6 and 7. Once again, I'm only being harsh because I don't really like, horror movies very much.
I'm so sorry that you think that's harsh.
That's not even harsh.
I didn't love it. It was entertaining, and there were parts of it I really thought were good, but I would give it like a 4.
What you have to realize is...
That's harsh.
That is harsh. I do think it's harsh.
A 4 is the lowest I could ever rate something.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Why?
I don't know.
Fine.
So, like, a 7 for me is
4.5.
A 7 for me is like a 3 out of 6. If you think of a scale between 4 and 10.
I've absolutely seen things I would rate 1.
I don't think I have.
Is it just a rate to the artist?
Well, no. The problem is, for me to rate it that low, I need to have completely not enjoyed my experience and have been made worse by it. I do have movies I can rate that low. It might make us watch one, but I'm not sure if it would create good content.
I think it's about a 7 out of 10. It starts off weird. Like, the first time I watched it, I was like, what is this? Keeps you guessing. And it's a wild ride.
Okay, here's how I explain it, right?
It's entertaining.
So, like, 5, middle of the road, means I didn't get anything out of the movie. Anything below 5 is I am made worse by watching it. Anything above 5 means I, at the very least, can derive some good things from it.
See, I rate it as, like, 5 is I'm neutral. I'm like, that wasn't a good movie, but it wasn't a bad movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But I'm erring more on the side of, like, it's not a good movie than it is not a bad... It's not, like... It's not bad. It's not... When you start getting into, like below 3, I think is the, like... Ugh. Like, I can't believe I wasted my time with this for me. Below 5 is just like, I had a somewhat negative response to it, not a somewhat positive. You know what I mean? Right. Which means I think it's very hard for me to get close to
I think there are definitely some positives in the movie that draw it through.
It's got good action. It's got a storyline.
True.
I wouldn't say the characters are amazing.
The characters is what really hurts it a lot. Once Gabriel goes Gabriel mode, we don't have, once Madison is, like, sad and depressed and dressing in all black, like, around the hypnotism part, and, I guess a little ways before that, when she draws them out, being like, I'm a medium, and I've got this one figured out, come see the body. During that time, I don't know, it just feels like we lose her as the main character. She's there as a witness, and not much else.
Yeah, I don't know. But
that's because that's when it turns more into, like, the detective style, like, killer style movie.
Yeah. Because that's when you have the sister going to the insane asylum looking for stuff, and stuff's tense. And then you also have Madison getting arrested, a person falling
Plus, like, she's getting more and more taken over by Gabriel, so She's kind of really not herself, anyways.
Yeah, but you don't see that as potentially a problem?
No. Problem with what?
Perspective. It's kind of hard to enjoy a movie when you don't have like a main character to root for or follow along with or understand what's going on in the story through. Instead, we are just witnesses to it.
Well, as a viewer, you're always a witness.
It's more of like you're trying to solve the mystery.
Boy, was I trying.
And so are all of them.
Fighting for my life.
You're not like there's no one to root for, really.
I mean, we do by the end of it. So
there's
not
like
back
a
to
hero.
having a main character for the last scene of it.
For Madison.
Madison is a main character in the last scene of the movie, in the first couple of scenes of the movie. It's just there's some in between where like she's not there to make decisions; she's only there to watch.
Are you rooting for the detective? Are you rooting?
I'm not rooting for the detective. He's bland. He has a chase scene, and
I like the lady detective
doesn't have
better.
much. Lady detective does a lot better. She's got that scene with the shotgun. That's like as cool as the whole chase scene.
Are you rooting for the forensic scientist?
She's there to pine for the detective for 2 scenes, then hide in a third. I don't think she's got more than 2 lines.
Or are you there for the sketch artist?
I am there for Bosco, the sketch artist. That's his name, right?
Are you rooting for him?
I don't know.
Are you rooting for
Let's
the mother?
go back and see a name tag. Never mind.
I feel like it would have felt more cohesive if the mom was involved from the beginning of the movie.
She was kidnapped.
She wasn't. She was just out of the house. What do you mean she was kidnapped?
You're talking about the adopted mom?
Yeah.
How does the movie have so many scenes in it and have so much happen, but have all the characters feel uninvolved?
Like, how's all this going on? And Madison's not once like, I should call my mom. Their mother, who apparently lives alone out in the middle of nowhere and does not have a good grasp on their personal mobility, right? Not grasp. They aren't able to get around that well, as evidenced by the wheelchair. You'd think that, your 2 children would be coming and checking on you. A bit more.
Hey, why did they have Sydney in the mascot costume for that scene where she goes like, oh, I just got here for my job?
Character?
Yeah,
sorry, I'm working here. I'm a struggling actor.
They want you to know that she's just goofy.
Alright.
From the beginning.
Goofy?
Yeah.
Okay.
They give me more of that.
I think more camp would have been hilarious. I want it all to be my pacemaker.
Maybe if that was like a setup so that she could like...
That wasn't campy. You thought it was until you rewatched it, and it wasn't.
It was like a good scene until he mentioned what was going on.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't think so.
Wait a minute. Okay.
No, I think it made sense they said my pacemaker. It just is a little disappointing.
She said, what's wrong? Are you having a heart attack?
He responded.
And he said, my pacemaker is burning.
I guess.
He wasn't like,
it's not
my pacemaker.
Well, I want it to be more like that, though. Blurg.
I don't know. The movie was kind of reaching its climax there, though.
Well, with a 4.5 and a 7 and a 7, that is 18.5 divided by 3, we have a 6.16. So I guess a 6.2.
That sounds about right.
Or 6.
Slightly over neutral. It wasn't wasted time. I wouldn't recommend the movie to someone, though.
You would or wouldn't? Why not?
I don't know. I've just got better movies to recommend to people.
Okay.
I would recommend it.
It's in the bag, but it's very bottom of the bag, so I'm never going to reach it.
I would absolutely recommend it in specific situations.
Like if someone had a podcast.
Yes!
Exactly. I would recommend it. I would say, I just watched this horror film called Malignant, and I did a podcast on it, so you should really watch it.
But you would recommend Speed Racer.
I would recommend...
I'm excited for Speed Racer.
I want us to watch Speed Racer. We do not have to. Surprise! Next topic.
Maybe, we're going to. We're watching Speed Racer.
Are we locked in on that?
We are now.
All right. I am excited for us to watch Speed Racer. I don't have a solid opinion on it. I remember liking it. I will come back with a new one. I hope I get to rate it above a 5. What? But who knows?
I'm going to predict it gets about between a 6 and a 6.5.
You think so?
Like everything else we've done on here.
Is that what happened? Oh.
There are only 3 things.
Well,
you know what? I need to start being closer then.
Closing statements.
No notes.
I'm Noah.
I'm Drew.
And I'm Jack.
You're listening to Rogues Nerdery. Is that what we do? I forget.
I don't know. That works.
It's been a month.
That sounds right.
Okay, goodbye forever.
Goodbye forever.
Forever? What?